Someone once asked me about my views on world, and I simply just said, picture Kanye West as a gangster. Success could come with an inflated ego, and it doesn't always have to be success. A level of arrogance can grow based on how a person is treated. That can have a person so high with their head in the clouds that they'll become blind to reality. Damion pleaded insanity, which is a defense used by many criminals to avoid harsh punishments. In order for it to work, you have to consistently display many insane acts. But looking into the life of world, you have to ask yourself, was it an act? He started his run on the acts of violence. He muscled his way into Lafayette Gardens, going to war with crews that was already established and in position. He was able to get guys to cross over to his side, so his manpower was just a little stronger. He would force men to get down with his crew, and if they wouldn't, he would let off on them from the rip. Sort of like get down or lay down. See, even if you was a square, he didn't know how to deal with rejection, as he would ask someone a little later down in his life that was running a medical clinic to be involved in an insurance fraud. The man declined. He should have put a little bit respect on it based on who he was dealing with, but Hardy got cocky, and the man got cocky back with him. Hardy had the man followed and shot. Now, you could only go so far applying these street tactics in the real world, pressing a day-to-day civilian into committing a crime. That's just unfair. That's when people realize he doesn't care about anyone but himself. And when he doesn't get his way, he would ask people, do you know who I am? As if it was in their best interest to give him what he wants. See, coming up, he put in work. Men feared him on the strength that he would just take things overboard. Guys wasn't willing to lose men and go through it over the dollar bill. But that didn't stop nothing. They didn't stop making guns when they made his, so it was on. He became super heavy and strong that it was just unmatched. Not to say the other side was a walk in the park, but to go against them, you had to be willing to bring it at any moment. You had to be a gangster 24 hours. He began to see how powerful he became and started to run his crew on the acts of violence. During the war, he received multiple gun wounds. With one incident, everyone thought he was dead, but he would wake up like nothing happened. That's when the majority of men would rather fight side by side with him than against them. The level of respect and fear with leading notorious group CNB with an iron fist. He took over Lafayette housing projects with force, running its operation out of multiple units on every floor. It became a normal thing for the residents. Shit, you even had some of the residents become a part of the program. His mistake was living with the gun, dying by the gun, not knowing when to draw or when not to. He had an attempt on a narcotics officer. That's when guys in his crew began to become unsure if they could keep up with his gangster. Having a leader that was supposed to be the brains, but instead he would lead them to the fire. Now, it was kind of a relief when he went down for the charges in '92. His motto would be no witnesses, and whatever a witness would come forward, that would be an automatic hit. Having that reputation, guys wouldn't dare. During his bid, the hood would still feel his presence as he showed he was still in charge, calling shots. With the loss of his brother, he would become insane, ordering hits from the jail cell, and then eat a turkey sandwich like it was nothing. Retaliation would come with just a few days after his brother's death. Years later, he would finally be released, but the shootings would become more consistent, with multiple bodies from both sides falling at the same locations in the same buildings. See, there is no statute of limitations when it comes to his beef. If it happened 10 years ago, he'll deal with it like it was yesterday. And if he was released from prison tomorrow, he would still have some unfinished business. Things didn't get any better with him being home. Public shootings at restaurants in front of witnesses. It was all over the place. With guys just taking any contracts to put food on the table, he began looking for another hustle, and he wanted to get some of that music industry money. He didn't see jail in his future, but he would consistently throw bricks at the jailhouse. Now, there's a lot of confusion between what was taking place with the names of Hamo, Mike Tyson, World, and 50 Cent. I could sit here and regurgitate the story, but the thing is, all the stories that's out isn't exactly what happened. Things were put out there, not only to confuse us, but it was out to confuse law enforcement. I think 50 knew what he was doing, putting names in those lyrics, but anyway, World didn't care who you were. He hated all of them equally. He didn't care too much for celebrities. But let me tell you one thing. If he ever sent for a hit, it would have been done. Trust me, no one in his crew was going against his orders without them being dealt with themselves. But don't take my word, do your homework. But his relationship with Lil' Kim in the early 2000s stretched from the early 90s. They had a cool history. The situation with 50 Cent dissing Kim had Flex shook. But World did what he was supposed to do. He wanted to step to 50, just to have a conversation. His intentions were not to harm 50 at that moment. But knowing what just happened and knowing how World got down, it was shots fired out of fear. 50 Cent and World, they ran into each other on multiple occasions. One time it was during a video shoot where 50 explained that his label wouldn't let him do the Majestic video. But back to Kim, he fell in love with the friend, the down-ass chick Kim was. She wasn't a wife. He took what was supposed to be a ride-or-die chick and held her to a higher standard. When he realized she couldn't be that, he just grew a level of hate for her. He had a big ego, and if he's calling her his chick publicly, then wherever she goes and whatever she does, she's representing him. So there's certain things that he tried to control, and it just got violent. When you go to get plastic surgery, it temporarily weakens your facial muscles. So imagine taking pressure to the face a couple weeks after surgery. It wouldn't be a good look. You'll have to go back to the doctor, and he'll try his best to put the broken pieces back together while trying to maintain a presentable look for you. But his organization was under the Fed's radar for a while now. If he didn't plead insanity, he would have been off the streets about 15 years prior to his arrest. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he played the mentally insane act. But just as I stated at the beginning, was it an act, or was he really insane? His attorneys was able to use his mental disorder to prolong any trials and any type of charges against him after his arrest. Now, here's when things get a little out of hand. World traveled to the Middle East for about 4 months, trying to get other Muslims to follow him and start a cult. He reportedly flew to Jordan and went to the royal palace in order to urge the king of Jordan to step down. He also traveled to Morocco and was arrested after 2 attempts to visit the king of Morocco. He was returned to Jordan once again, arrested for speaking against the king of Jordan. Now, you have to have some type of insanity to think you're important enough to even attempt to visit the king of Morocco without assuring to yourself that you might get your head blown off. But with his attorney successfully prolonging the indictments, he was supposed to just fall back and play his part. But he couldn't just stay out of trouble for some reason. Law enforcement would end up just bringing him in. Now, with pleading insanity, he has to go through certain steps, and he did not want to cooperate with the evaluation. District court ordered another psychiatric examination, and nothing seems to be wrong with him. I mean, when you hear him talk on the Wendy Williams show, he appears to be very sharp, as he knows what's going on. As a matter of fact, he appears to be sharper than the average human being. But during many evaluations, it is noted that he will refuse many of the medications prescribed to him. Now, being behind bars, he was giving COs and staff members just hell. If you ask me, he was worse than Pappy Mason. Attacking the COs every chance he gets, refused to move for the 21-day cell rotation. He barricaded his cell and armed himself with a sock full of batteries. On multiple occasions, he would throw unknown liquid substance on staff, and once getting it in staff member's eye, causing it to burn. Now, I don't even want to know what that unknown liquid substance was. But there will be multiple reports of him harming inmates, stabbing them with cones and all types of stuff, threatening other staff members, throwing feces in their face, just all types of stuff, man. But after a 4-week-long jury trial, Damion Hardy was convicted of 23 crimes, including racketeering, murder, unlawful use of a firearm, and drug distribution. He was sentenced to life, plus 85 years. So when he dies, he still owed 85 years. Now, you have a guy that was really strong in his religious beliefs. It was to a point, if you weren't a Muslim, it was F you. But if you challenged him, he didn't care if you was Muslim at all. So based on a video, was Damion World Hardy really insane? Jump in the comments and let me know. Let me know what you think. Before you head out, like the video. And of course, it doesn't have to end right here. Check out the playlist. I take a different approach on every video. But that's it for tonight. Y'all be safe. Thanks for watching. I'm out.